And you're cashing this out, yeah, that's what I think.
Sharon, when you're ready.
I'm ready.
You go, sorry I didn't get in earlier.
No worries.
So I will call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to roll call when you're ready, Sharon.
Tina Thompson, Chris Kolick.
Here.
Jeremy Smell.
Here.
Charles Stahl.
Here.
Kevin Miller.
Here.
Sharon Long. Here. Tim Miller. Ted Long.
Here.
SARPD.
Okay, do we have any agenda amendments?
I do not.
Not, we'll move on to visitors' written requests. I have none. Move on to bills to be paid. Looks like we've got a bills list here in front of us. Once everyone's had a chance to review the bills, I'll need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So next we will move on to old business. We have municipal authority discussion. We're getting down to the deadline here, so it's about time we start talking about the mess that's going on there.
So again, Bob asked me to look over what he put together as a budget, for them to help them stay alive under their own power. Which I think we all got from the last conversation is that they don't really care to stay alive as an authority regardless. His budget works with increasing rates. I mean, it's in theory it works. You could do that, but we run into the problem that we have there when we said, like, how many people are sticking around? And they answered none.
None.
And then, so that means even if we're allowed to appoint 2 from here, we still have to find minimally what? I mean, can you operate with 3? I don't know.
I think they're a 7-person authority, aren't they? So we
Oh my
need a
goodness.
minimum 4.
So we're
Four
going to
people.
scratch and try to find 2 appointments.
You can probably change that in some form of bylaws, I would assume, right?
We could, but it's also not going to be a quick enough process to
I was
fix anything.
just saying, because I know the planning commission at one time
I
used to
tried
do
to
5,
figure
I
out
went for
Jeremy what
3.
he did and it wouldn't give me
Oh.
all of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was a
huge
weird
sheet.
document. It came up and it ended up real skinny. It was
Yeah.
super hard to read. But long story short, with raising the rates, there was enough money in there to probably have 2 employees and give it a go. But again, 2 employees that have no knowledge of the system, 2 employees that we don't have yet, 2 employees that we may not find at all. I mean, I feel like I think my thought has been the whole time was I'd like to see it maintain an authority or us take it over. But through further meetings and just talking with everybody here, I don't think that's the general consensus of the group, mainly because of time.
Yeah, I think.
We've been given 0 time.
And I'll say
effectively.
Phil texted me earlier this evening too. He said the most he'd be willing to stick around is a month or 2
Okay.
with his license.
Sure.
He said he wasn't willing to stay 3, not even the jokingly year. He said. He said he's looking to, once he's done at the end of this year, he'll stick around a month or 2. But he said it remains his opinion. He doesn't think that's feasible for us to only have him a month or 2 and continue to operate when they have no employees effectively at the end of this year.
Did Bob reach out to MWC?
I didn't get an update on that. I think he was kind of hoping to see what we were going to do and kind of give him the go. I mean, I think at this point, my recommendation would be that we just reach out to MAWC and see what can we get out of the deal.
I 100% agree. I'm with you.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that was gonna happen already, but.
Yeah, I'm with you as yes, I wanted to see us try to take care of it.
Yeah.
I just think it's impossible.
Had they come to us a year ago with
I think
this,
if we
we
had-
could have made it happen.
I agree. I think if we would have had 6 months to a year to actually sink our teeth into it, understand it, train some people, but it really got dropped in our lap in the last few seconds. So I think that we should. I don't know who reaches out of it. Is at this point, is it our solicitor that reaches out? Do we ask Tim to reach out and open up talks.
Bob kind of talked like he had a good relationship with these people, and
I
he.
guess if he's willing to do it,
He
too, let's
wouldn't-
let him, right?
I will say our
Good way
solicitor
of, like,
has some contacts with their solicitor at MAWC, so
Well, maybe
yeah,
we
we
have
just don't
Bob
want to
and
sound
Tim
like
talk.
we're like in a frantic here. We
No.
have to be like, hey, we're considering some moves.
Well, I think we should
Yeah.
see what we can get out of them in
Yeah.
general. Like how can we better our township, whether it's repairing of current broken lines or adding lines.
Negotiate something.
You know, I mean, I think we should get something out of the deal besides just handing it over.
And now one thing we're gonna have to push with the authority, once we have a little bit more information, is how to move forward during this transitionary period. Because I'm thinking they're gonna need to be in operation after the new year.
Yeah, I think we try to negotiate into that where it's like, I don't know how it looks legally, but that
Some
basically
type of
there's,
agreement.
that they're an interim.
Interim coverage.
Yeah, I mean,
Pending deal.
we have some kind of agreement with them for during the interim that just says they'll maintain and repair lines, because we have this, you know, we have a deal with them.
It's gonna have to be that way.
Well, I don't see any other way to do it, because if not, as soon as the line breaks,
Yeah,
you know, or we're all gonna be out there trying to figure out how to fix it in the middle of January. So,
So do we want to entertain a motion to authorize necessary officials to reach out to MAWC and other local systems to entertain potential offers for the
Yeah, I
water
guess-
and sewer
I guess
systems
we
of
don't have
Gilpin
to just
Township?
shop it with MAWC, we may as well see if anybody
Yeah.
else is interested in what they could bring to the table, right?
That's kind of my thought.
I mean, that's,
I'll make that motion.
I need to know
Or
what
second
that's.
it.
So the motion is, to authorize necessary proper township officials to reach out to MAWC and any other local water and sewer systems to seek
is it bids, proposals, offers?
seek proposals for the potential dissolvement of the Gilpin Township Municipal Authority. Do your best to summarize this, Sharon. I'm trying to think here.
I don't know
That's-
shorthand, to reach out to MAWC and other
Other local systems
local systems, okay?
regarding proposals for the Gilpin Township water and sewer systems. And I think one thing we should maybe do too is talk to some of our surrounding municipalities, see how they do it, because there are a lot of local municipalities that are with MAWC, but maybe still own their own sewer systems and work with Kiski Valley Water Pollution for the billing and everything. So I think there's some options there for us to discuss.
Isn't that like where Parks Township uses that Chris Swank or something, right?
Parks Township, it's a little different. They have a municipal authority, but like Leechburg, for example, West Leechburg, for example, they both use MAWC water, but they own their own sewer systems and contract people to maintain their sewer systems, but they do their sewer billing, etc. Again, it might not even be worth doing that, but I think it's worth exploring all of our options here as we move
Yeah,
I
forward.
wonder what they do there, because I get a bill, I get all my bills from Leechburg come from Kiski Valley.
But that's the
Water
thing, they do their billing through Kiski Valley, but the
Pollution.
borough collects a sewer service fee.
Yeah, that's.
Quarterly
that was
with their
for-
garbage, I
That was
think.
for an upgrade on the sewer system.
Yes, but then they maintain their sewer systems through,
Okay.
I know, it's a little
I feel-
confusing the way they do it.
Yeah, I
And
feel
it might not be
I was
worth
gonna
it
say,
for
I feel
us.
like if we're just gonna give it up, I think we just give it up.
I just think it's worth gathering all potential
Yeah.
opportunities for us. So
Again, though, do we have enough time to get all potential?
Yeah. I say we get what we can while we can, and
Philip seemed to
enough.
think it could happen that fast.
he thinks, yeah, with MAWC it would be boom, boom, good to go. That was his opinion.
That's what I gathered.
That's what I gathered as well.
First, second, and third that as well.
Well, we have a motion from Chris, seconded by Kevin. Any other questions, comments, or discussions on this topic?
No, just move pretty fast.
Let's move fast, talk to who we need to talk to, and work it out as we go. Okay,
Are you gonna reach out to somebody?
If you wanna talk to
I'll call Bob and I'll even call Tim and just tell them
Perfect.
both, hey, like, this is where we're at, like, can you guys coordinate this together? Like, since Tim's like our representation and Bob's their representation, I feel like those would be the first two to spearhead.
I
it.
agree.
All right, so I'll call them both.
Whew, I feel a little better about
Perfect.
All
that.
right.
All
Tim.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Make myself notes.
Motion carries. Okay. So moving on to budget workshop. We've had this budget for about a month now. Does anyone have time to review, and do they have any comments for it? We are going to need to Tuesday at the latest, vote to advertise our preliminary budget.
Like I said, this is the first time I'm seeing this, but what is this, DUI check wages? Seems like some.
We hold the DUI grant as a municipality for the DUI checkpoints. That is it should be a $24,000 income, and then later in the budget, it's a $24,000 expense. It's a wash
Oh, I see.
in and out through the Pennsylvania, or I think it's through PennDOT.
Because we hold.
Hold the trailer.
Now
Yeah.
To,
We pay the wages to all the other municipalities that participate. We pay the wages to SRPD because we are the host municipality for the DUI checkpoints in Armstrong and Clarion counties.
what you are saying is 24 in and 24 out.
Yeah, it's a complete wash. Yeah, you should see the income at. Trying to find the income that I know I saw it earlier.
Page 2, 362.10.3.
Page 2.
362.10.3 DUI checkpoint wages township. So it's 24,000 in, and then in expenses it'll probably
Four
be
tens.
under the 410s.
410,
280, and it's 24,000 out. So that's just a wash. The other thing to discuss, so we put money in for potential upgrades of the township building.
Where's that at in here?
That is under 472-110 debt interest and principal. The thing kind of up in the air right now. So that was more necessary when the police were staying in Gilpin. The police have signed a lease to move the main station to Freeport Borough into its own independent building. And they will just need to operate a small office out of here, most likely what currently acts as the chief office in the basement. That being said, they will release the full basement to us. So we need to figure out, do we want to still do this full, just as we've been discussing for a couple of years, the full addition, remodel. The 50,000 is, I believe, for how many years, Sharon? You told us,
30.
I think last month.
I think.
No, it wasn't. It was shorter than that.
I mean, when I was looking, that's on a note somewhere on my desk. When I was looking at loan rates, I think when I originally was asking for interest rates, I was saying, what about 30? Because I was thinking it was going to be like $100,000.
Yeah, no, we went a lot shorter than that. But that would be the cost of yearly payments to do that full addition, as we were quoted previously by Jedco. I'm starting to think, and I don't know if it would be feasible. We do need some upgrades here, and maybe it wouldn't hurt to add some more storage, maybe a couple more offices as necessary. Is that something that our road department could do? I mean, I know we do some minor contracting work in the past. Is that something, adding an office or a wall or?
That's up to you guys.
Well, but you guys are capable of, I'm
I mean,
asking.
so far, I think we've done okay.
Yeah, I mean, your bathroom
The
and
only
break room
thing-
are
The
both
only
good.
thing here in this building that scares me is the electrical. I think it's just been like, it's kind of like old and it's been scabbed together. And then you have like, there's like box coming into a box and then there's another box over there and then there's a sub box up here. So that's the only thing I would caution having us do. Like the stuff that I've done down at the garage is very just open. There's one box, one panel, that's it. So I've been, it's pretty standard. But this one's a little bit different. But as far as like doing whatever, I'll do whatever you guys ask me to do. It's just, the electrical thing scares me. That's all for things.
Understandable.
Which we could get into that, we could sell that out.
Yeah, I mean, so what I'm thinking is rather than putting money aside for debt for year over year, what if we start putting, maybe not that full amount, but some more money into our building supplies, and we have another line for building stuff.
Is there a cap? I thought there was a capital improvement thing. I was on the building when I was going through.
Yeah, I think there is too. I'm trying
I
to
don't know
remember,
where.
because that's what we use for the garage doors. Is that in? No, that would be
Capital
in
purchase building,
capital purchase building. Yeah,
that's somewhere else.
yeah.
Page,
I'm looking for it.
Page 4, towards the bottom, 430,
There it is.
700.
Yeah, I would propose maybe we move some more money into the next year budget for that. Eliminate the debt service, but start putting some more money year over year into improving the building we
If you
have.
look at it this year, 3/4 of the way or 70% through the year, we spent $9,500 on our building thus far. So I mean, that probably will go up a little bit between the end of the year.
Yeah, and Sharon, looking at it even deeper, that's under public works, highway, roads, and streets. So we'd probably want to add a separate line item under general government or somewhere else for this building, because that money that we've been budgeting under that line has been for the garage doors and for doing improvements at the garage.
I got you.
So we might want to add a,
Which
Which
worked
I-
very well. when
Yeah.
we Did that.
and Ted, you're getting another garage door
Yeah, it's
too?
on-
It's
yeah,
on its way,
it's supposed
so
to be, yeah.
there's gonna be more money out of that line, hopefully by the end of the year.
Yeah.
We're just waiting on the garage door to come.
Yeah.
And do you know about how much that was?
I want to say like 7. I'd have to look it up.
7,000.
Yeah, it's right around
Okay.
that area for the opener.
So that brings us close to our 15 for the garage. Well, we did 20 this year. 15 for next year is what we were proposing. And I think that's something we should continue to keep that line around the same and keep adding more garage doors, because ever since we put that
Well,
heat in,
Yeah, once this second one's done, I got basically 5 more to go.
yeah,
And then,
because we put that heat in the garage, and the better the doors, the better the insulation, the less
I mean,
heating oil we're going to
We
use.
did like 2 a year. Do you see any other big capital improvements that you would need over the next couple of years on that?
for the actual garage.
For the garage.
Yeah.
I mean, no, unless
So
something happens, the roof
so maybe-
starts leaking or something like that.
Knock on wood here.
Yeah, I mean, it's generally just.
And all our doors are the same size down there, right?
Yes.
And so you said you're what, 7 or 8 for a door roughly?
Yeah.
So, I guess that 15 is gonna put us pretty close to being
Yeah.
able to do 2 doors a year.
Yeah, I
We
think
should
it went
try
up a
to-
couple $100 from the first one.
Yeah, and it's gonna keep going up probably year over year.
We should definitely try to keep doing that. I think that's good.
So that
If I
being
can
said,
do
maybe
2 a year, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean,
Try that.
I'm not super familiar with contracting or how much money we should start putting aside for repairs and upgrades here.
We just don't have a scope of work. Like, that's the problem. Like,
Yeah.
We're trying to.
The
spend
initial
money on
scope we
something.
were working on was a huge
Yeah,
scope
exactly.
and big.
We had a
and- yeah.
plan and we said, okay, it's $300,000. We have a budget. We have all this, but like, we don't have a plan for plan B. If
Yeah,
we knew
yeah.
what we were doing, we could say, okay, hey, that's about $100,000 project. We're gonna do it in 3 phases. So let's put out 35 a year to do it. So, I mean, I think that having some money in there for some improvements is fine. We just need a plan for what we want
Yeah.
to do.
Now, being where we're at in the year and knowing we have to advertise at least a preliminary budget, I mean, I'd propose we maybe throw in 20 to 25 as a placeholder.
I think it's a smart idea. I mean, you can do a lot of interior work for $25,000. So I think that's fair.
Okay.
But on a side note, the carpet was already approved.
Yeah, the flooring was
So-
approved, but it was, yeah, we'll still need a budget line for it to come out of. So,
Okay.
and I don't know what budget line that was going to come out of prior. That might have been that same capital improvement, building repairs, maybe. I'm trying to remember where that was. Building repairs and maintenance or building supplies. We have budgeted at
Can we
5,000 and
put-
2,000.
Can we put the money in instead of creating a new line and just put it under building repairs and maintenance under 409-250? Is that?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I'm just thinking just for
Sharon,
simplicity's sake. Is
DCD chart of accounts wise, would that be kosher?
that okay? Is that gonna-
Putting it under repairs and
Yeah.
maintenance?
Well, if that's what you're doing, you're.
Yeah, we're proposing still doing larger projects, but doing it in a more scaled out way, not taking out a big loan, doing it all at once. So I mean, if you think that it would be kosher to leave it under there, if not,
Whatever it needs.
then
to be.
we could add a
That's
building
irrelevant.
capital.
I mean, as long
we
as
could
it's
do a
okay.
409 700 or 409, it would probably be 409 700 for the building improvement or building capital improvements and put 25 in it. Is that kosher with everyone? Okay with everyone? It still takes 25,000 out of our current expenses while still investing some into here.
Yeah, I think we should.
Are you bumping up the capital purchase building under road department to try to do 2 doors a year?
Well, from the sounds
I
of
think
it,
we're pretty
well,
close at 15. Maybe you could take it to
let's take it to the
16.
20. Well,
Or
we
leave
want to
it at
maybe take
20.
it to the 20 that it was this year.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, let's leave that one at 20 just in case anything else comes up. We don't want to expend our money on 2 doors and then have no more money in that budget line.
And then where the 50 is it under debt interest, move it under the
Yeah,
building.
move it to capital building and make it 25.
So that gives us 25 to go in our main
$25,000 for improvements here.
Right.
In general fund.
What about the other 25 or we were using?
We're just putting that putting it into our coffers.
Not calling it.
Unless there's somewhere else anyone thinks we need to allocate it, but I would say
I'm okay with that.
putting it into our coffers and increasing our overall surplus for this year.
Agree.
Does anyone have any other lines that caught them for discussion
You never put a dollar amount in for code enforcement stuff.
for his supplies? Let's do, I mean, if everyone's okay with it, I'm thinking just like 300 to 500, smaller amount in the overall budget for any costs that may arise. Unless anyone has any other thoughts on that.
I mean, a couple $100 is pretty average for that.
Yeah. So
What are you making it?
about,
You said 3, you said 2. What do you
I said 3 to 5, so let's do 4. Let's meet in the middle. Let's do 400 for that line if that's okay with everyone. Anything else that has stood out to everyone while reviewing the budget?
What about hydrants?
I have
Well,
that marked here.
so
I have
we
a
know-
question, what happens if MAWC,
They'll still continue to bill us for the hydrants because we pay them for hydrants right now that are in their system.
how does that cost compare to what we pay?
It's a little bit less. It wasn't a lot less, but it was because we're
I
paying
would
what
say-
100 a hydrant right now with
Yeah,
with
one
our.
of them, between, because there's Parks and Westmoreland, one of them's 75, one of them's like 90, and then Gilpin was the highest at 100.
So I would propose we keep it the same for now, knowing that
Yeah.
we're still going to end up having to pay bills for those hydrants.
Why do they charge us for that? I mean, it's their water system. It's
You know,
coming up out of their water line.
I think water systems have always done that under the premise of it is the township's responsibility to provide emergency services. It's not the water authority's
Yeah.
responsibility to have a hydrant. I think that's because that's pretty common across systems as far as billing for the municipality for hydrants. It's strange to me.
Yeah,
but,
no, I mean, I don't think that we're the only ones.
and I think it
just
partially
seems-
goes toward, I mean, those are unmetered. So if there's a fire in the township and the fire department's using
Fair
it,
enough, if you run through a couple 100,000.
if you go through the gallons, you need to pay for it. So
That's probably.
that's my theory as to why we get billed for hydrants.
That makes sense.
But I would say at least for this year, until we have a better idea of where we're at, we keep that number the same, knowing that they're a little south of what we pay right now. I'd rather have too much than not enough.
Did you bump up part-time wages from 5 to 10 because of taking over the water?
Not necessarily. I've still been wanting to put a push to have some part-time help for plowing and mowing seasons.
Okay.
It's something Ted and I have talked a little bit about too, and I think you two have talked about it.
Because I have two names.
Yeah, he has 2 people that have approached him about doing some seasonal plowing with the township.
Yeah.
And I think especially on the heavy snows with school bus routes, we found that 2 just doesn't quite cut it, in my opinion. I mean, I rode, me and Kevin both rode with you and Maury last year. You guys do the best you can, but in a heavy snow, you can't keep up with, especially the bus routes, and those are the most important. It's continuous, exactly. So if you could throw a third guy in there, especially to keep up with those bus routes, I think it would be really
I would say
helpful.
at certain times, yeah. One Dave Weaver, he worked with here before Mordecai started. And he's retired. He left here and went to Manor because he wasn't technically full time here. He was just helping out. He worked in Manor Township, I think, for 8 or 9 years, and then he retired. And then we just were talking on and off, and then he just said, "Hey, if you needed some help, I'd come down." So that's him. And then the other one was I got his paper down at the garage.
Matt Shoemaker.
I think that's his name, and he drives truck for Sheets. So, and what's happening is they changed his scheduling around, so he has, he'll have extended times off where he'll only work a couple days a week. So he was asking about
Being able to help out.
being able, yeah.
And I mean, I think that
he's
I think
looking
most
for more-
specifically we'd want a truck driver because the few times you need someone is plowing, and definitely I would say summertime hauling when you're doing major road projects, having a
yeah.
third guy to haul stone and
Yeah, I mean,
materials.
Dave is not looking for full-time work. He's not looking for it. And Matt really isn't either, but Dave's retired. He's pretty much available at any time. And like I said, Matt said he could give me his schedule, pretty far out. So we could work stuff out with him. But they're both, Dave was a truck driver before, he started working with us and then with Banner. And he plowed for Manor and everything too, so.
How's that gonna affect you guys' overtime?
I mean, I don't know that I'd necessarily have somebody come out if we had to come out on the weekends. I think more than I then we would just be out because you're not dealing with the school bus.
Sure.
So I think it's more along the lines of, like Charlie said, for me, it is, the school bus is where we're kind of
Yeah.
stuck on our bus routes, and it's hard to get to secondary roads. If there was a third guy out at that point, I mean, I would just ask for some latitude. And then, you know, if we needed it, like he said, if we needed some help doing something here and there, I mean, contractually, you have like 89 days.
Well, and I was going to bring that up. Something I would like to discuss with the board and possibly discuss with the union would be some type of MOU that would let us hire someone part-time. Right now, in their existing contract, on their 90th day of part-time employment, we are required to hire them full-time. That is something that is pretty common across union contracts. I've seen it in a lot of different contracts that I've worked with. Something I'd like to explore if we're going to be hiring a part-time guy, because if we want someone strictly for seasonal help,
We
they're on the
changed it-
books more than 89 days.
We did change it once before because initially it was kind of like 89 consecutive days. And I believe I'd have to look again, but I believe it's kind of like 89 days.
And that's more of a discussion for us to have with the union, separate and apart,
Mhm.
personnel type executive session to discuss on the board side. Just throwing it out there for the board, that's something I think we need to explore
I
to
mean,
go
is that-
along with having
Yeah, I mean,
part-time help.
would that be something you guys would be interested in having? I mean, would you?
I mean,
What
I
are your
don't think
thoughts on
I
that?
don't think having a part-time person that we use occasionally is a bad idea. I mean, we used to operate on 3 people. You know, I think the grass and the snow are definitely times when we could use extra help, and if we can afford it financially and we just put a limit on it, I think it's fine. I like the idea, you know. So I'd be okay with it.
It just has to be overseen, like I'm not stepping on your toes.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'm behind on grass, I'm gonna call this guy in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
reach out to your road supervisor and
Yeah.
say,
Like,
Well, I mean, I'm okay with
like
it.
early in the spring when the grass is
I
growing
mean,
like
just-
crazy, or I mean, I agree with you, Kevin. We just need to be regulated.
that's
I mean,
what
I can't
was
necessarily-
I guess was,
No,
it
you're
just
right.
can't be.
You know, I mean, if there was times
Willy-nilly.
if I didn't have to have approval every single time, I mean, but, you know, because I mean, the snow removal is one thing. I
the
think.
snow removal, I mean, typically that's
Yeah.
happening at 4 or 5 a.m.
Yeah, so, I mean,
So, I mean, that's all stuff we can discuss
I mean, we can
moving
put it, here's the
forward
thing,
when the
here's
time
the good
comes.
thing is we can put it in there, we don't mean we have to use it.
And that's where I'm at
Yeah.
with it. We've
I
actually,
mean,
we've put it in the past 2 years and haven't used it.
let's
So
have it in there,
I'd like to have it in there,
If
but-
we don't use it, great, we save money.
I'd like to push the point that it's something I would like to explore, but again, we have to start with the union first and try to
well, I mean,
negotiate some
in
things
the
there.
meantime, you know what I mean, what would I tell these guys?
Tell them that we haven't made a final decision yet, you know, we're talking about it, and, you know,
We'll reach
just
out
sit
when-
tight, you know, we'll reach out to them when we have decided, you know, how we can use it.
Okay.
So, all right, other stuff I have questions, like our law services with Tim, we've been, you know, $7,000 in 23, and now we're creeping up over 10. What, sorry, page 3 of 404-310. I assume that's our solicitor cost, is that what, when I'm reading
Yeah.
professional services law?
to be our solicitor, and this year, as an exception, we hired that outside counsel to handle the Cresco lawsuit.
Correct. So, but we're still budgeting, we're still projecting to be up over, you know, $10,000 or more. Is it just because he's comfortable in his position and he's charging us more? Is he the competitive with the going rate?
He is,
Is that just
in my
inflation?
experience, he's at 125 an hour is what he
Okay.
charges us. Most attorneys are 150 plus.
So then,
He's at the going rate, I would say, if not
let
under.
me ask this, are we using him too much as a board? Is that why we're going up, or are we just, I'm just trying
I
to
think-
see,
I
like,
think
are we
this
asking him
year-
too much? Are we throwing like, hey, go do this, go do that, just so we don't have to do it, or?
I think this year has been an exception year
Mm-hmm.
per se with some of the stuff that has come up for us that we've needed legal opinions for.
Okay.
I don't feel that we go to him for everything, but I also feel that
No, I was just,
his billing is
He doesn't charge the
he's
criminals.
he's a very loose
no,
biller
I
in the
can
terms of
appreciate
attorney,
that.
and I've come to learn that in my full time job, our solicitors will charge you 0.1 hours for an
You're
email.
getting the 15
You
minutes
get
per phone
billed pretty
call.
much for the minute.
I got you.
Tim does not do that to us. Tim is super loose with us.
No, I like Tim.
Yeah,
think
I
he's doing
understand
a
what you're
great
asking.
job.
Yeah, I get
just want to look at. I'm just looking at numbers that make big jumps. From 23 to next year, because obviously we don't
Yeah, I
have
mean, and
24
I think-
numbers in.
This year we still have potential of exceeding that
Oh yeah,
10, and I want to think. I mean, we're going from a budget of 8,000 to a budget of 10. I think that's safe to stay at the 10. I don't want to exceed that 10 personally.
No, I'm good.
And I think we continue to try to talk to when we need to. I mean, I've always tried to do what I can without attorney involvement first.
I think we all do for sure. And then the next one is Sharon. Your job. That's your secretary treasurer. Is that one job?
Yeah, that's one
So
salary.
that's just one job in total. The secretary and the treasurer are a combined job.
Yeah.
Okay. I've just.
Yeah, it doesn't need like broken out. It's secretary treasurer is one position in the contract, one wage.
10-4. I'm gonna keep going. You guys aren't gonna like me, but
No, that's okay.
the copier, like in the digital world that we're in, how much? I mean, I know what I deal with at home as far as like how many units and people and things, and like I work off of a regular little printer and a scanner. How much are we using that copier? I mean, like, are we mass producing documents often that we?
I'm gonna defer to you, Sharon. 'Cause
I mean, you
obviously
would
use
know
it
the best,
day-to-day.
like, how much
What
are
you
we
use
using
it
that
for, how much
sucker?
you use it. I mean, I believe we're in a contract with them. I don't know if it's a lock-in contract or how our lease with that works.
I mean, I'd have to look back at the original paperwork. I know because it was like.
We initially did it with
It's
the
a lease
police.
thing. It is.
Yeah,
Well, we still have it with the police. The police pay,
they pay us back their portion.
yes.
Okay.
but
They're going to be.
as far as copies,
Yeah.
it's the copies I make are meeting packet stuff. But like, I know it's listed as copier, but it's my printer too. So like all my checks, all of my
Sure.
um,
So it does everything
It-
for you.
yes.
Yeah, that
I was just thinking like that's a lot of money every month if we could invest in like a really high end printer that maybe costs $2,000 and we just have it.
so
is
the
that-
the one thing
I don't
that
pay for
can
toner.
yeah,
That's
Right.
this includes toner refills
Repairs.
and repairs and service
Yeah.
in that lease, whereas we'd have to
we have to do
outsource that if we own it.
Toner's the most expensive thing because the before we got this one, the printer I had, we outright bought it, and then like when I was buying toner because for the laser printer it was like $179 for a thing of black ink.
that.
You know,
I mean, if it's costing us $200 a month to maintain it, then there's not much savings. It's not worth the headache. Then go down to 406, 420. Dues, conventions, and seminars. What does that cover?
That covers PSATs, conventions, any classes, anything else that supervisors do from year to year,
Okay.
as far as classes, seminars.
So we have one big year. And,
Yeah, we had the one big year, and that was the year we received that award out in Harrisburg. And that's, I think, what bumped that up because we had an extra, we'll call it convention that we went to that went into there.
Sure.
I would be happy and
I mean, I'll
finally
be
bumping that
honest
down to
with
like 3,500.
You're the guy. I mean, you're the guy attending most of these things only just because I think the rest of us are super swamped with life. But I'm not. I don't. If we think it's 5,000 and we still only spend 3,000, it doesn't matter. I don't think that matters. I just was curious what we were spending that money on.
Yep, that's just any conventions, our dues to PSATs, I believe, go under that line, Sharon.
yes.
The dues that the township pays to be a member of PSATs.
And the DUI checkpoint thing on the next page, we said that was a wash. We
That's a
talked
wash.
about
That's
that
an in and
already.
out. Yep.
Zoning officer, the code enforcement salary. We think we're gonna end up spending $5,000 with that. Hopefully.
Well, yeah, we're combining,
We're gonna have a combined position. there
most likely.
eventually.
so
Maybe.
probably, yeah, assuming he accepts it, next
Yeah.
month we'll have a combined. Well, as soon as Tuesday, we'll have a combined position.
So does that get rid of one of those 5,000s?
Well,
Because you have.
if he's
salaries
doing
on.
both, I would assume we're gonna need to budget more for him to do both. So we would just, if we
We
wanted to
have-
make
we
it a
have-
single
we
line,
haven't
we could
had-
make a single line of
We haven't
10,000.
had a negotiation with him on what he's willing to do this job for. I mean, he's an hourly employee at this point. So there's not really like a,
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all still kind of getting a gauge for as much as what in previous years, with our zoning officer also being our secretary, we don't know how much actual hourly time is going to go into that position. So that's something we want to consider when thinking about what we want to budget for this. I don't know how much time he'll be putting into it. I think those were numbers we threw in just until we can get a feel. Hopefully 10,000 for the full year is enough for both positions. If we exceed, if we go under, we go from there.
Yeah, we can't, well, it's the first time
Yeah.
tackling it, so.
Yeah, exactly.
What else did I have here?
On that, does he have a contract? Is it like a yearly contract or is he on until?
He's just a standard employee. He has no
At-will
contract. He's an
employee,
at-will.
Can be fired any day. So then we get to the health and human services.
Yes.
So those are our donations, right?
That's our hydrants, our medical exams, and our donations.
I don't know. I always have a problem giving away taxpayer money. It's probably an unpopular opinion, but I just feel like if people want to donate their money, they can donate it themselves. It's our job to like improve the roads and fix stuff in the township. And some of that directly relates to the township side. It's like it's a catch-22.
Yeah, I mean, so
I always stumble on these things. I always stumble when we're giving taxpayer money away to, things that are funded in other ways. Like I said, I know it's not the most popular opinion in the room, but that's how I feel.
So we're saying.
We've pared it down. I mean, you can see we went from,
Right.
basically, at this point, we're giving away $9,000 of taxpayer money over 4 different entities.
So with some of that, the pool, all taxpayers get a discount pass every year based on how much in taxes they pay. So there is something that comes out of that donation. For the library, I believe township residents also get free library
There's some sort of
cards.
access with that.
They get access to the library for free and don't have to pay for a membership, and that's only $500. With the park, they need every bit they can get. I think if we pull that 3,000, they're going to fold, and then the entire park's our responsibility. I know Leechburg donates something every year. I don't know how much to the Gilpin Leechburg Park, but we have
I think they match.
other discussions regarding the Gilpin Leechburg Park that need
Yeah.
figured out moving forward, and I think we can talk a little more on that Tuesday. Tim hopefully has.
So to narrow to slim that down more, would it be a more effective thing to, instead of giving $9,000 away every year, give away $5,000, but give it to one entity and rotate it around every year, so that they each get a little bit of a splash instead of just like, I don't know how far $2,500 goes at the pool, but I don't know. And if everybody else in the room likes giving the money away, I'm okay with that too. I just need to know.
I mean,
How we all
personally,
feel.
I'm content with how we do it. 3,000 each and 500 to the library. In fact, we did bump up what we give the pool because for some reason last year we gave them 500 less. We bumped that up to match the other two. Personally, I'm content with it.
I mean, I don't like giving money outside of the township. I'll definitely say that. Like that's, giving money into Leechburg. I don't think Leechburg sends any money to Gilpin for any reason.
I agree.
I mean, they don't do shit for us.
Do our residents know that they can get a break with it?
I knew about the pool passes, but
And that I would assume our taxpayers that go there do know, but I mean, maybe that's something we can do on our end to better advertise. Hey, by the way, you get.
You're good with the social media part. I mean.
Oh,
that's
yeah, I'd
something
be happy
you
to
could go
blast
on
it
and
out.
Say, hey, this is what we do, but I'm also in agreement with, why are we giving Leechburg $500? I'm okay with that.
Well, but
all,
it's the
I'm all-
Leechburg Public Library. It's a separate entity from the borough. They're a library that services our entire area. They service all of us, and Gilpin and Leechburg specifically put money into it. I don't know if West Leechburg does too, because they're part of the school district. But
Right.
I mean, and that's just something we've done for a long time. I mean, I don't know, Sharon, has that always been here since you've been here?
No.
Do you know when that was added approximately?
10 years or less. I know they came to one
I
of
was
our
gonna say,
meetings.
it was here when I came here.
Yeah, they came to one of our meetings and asked for a donation, and then with that, they gave us a presentation of like what the residents and that would get. I feel like it was something with like online access or something about it. I don't really remember what all it was the proposal, but it was definitely a different board at the time.
I don't know, I just, like, we can only generate revenue by raising taxes. And each of these entities has the ability to raise money on their own. And I still feel like if people want to donate, they can donate their money how they feel fit. Just my 2 cents. We don't have to dwell on it. We're not finalizing anything tonight.
I tend to agree with that, to be honest with you. I mean, over the last several years, I've always questioned that. But
I mean, we can continue to, we're not finalizing this tonight, right? I mean, this isn't like the
No,
final.
Tuesday we'll vote to advertise the preliminary. We would vote on the final budget at our year-end meeting.
Okay, so I mean, you can just let
So
that.
what are you thinking? You thinking tax it all?
I don't
Half it
know.
all?
I don't know. I guess I just hate giving away taxpayers'
I get
money,
it.
and that's all. And you know, it's not. I don't have the final answer in it. I just. I flip flop. I feel both ways because I think some of these things are important, but I also.
Yeah, I mean,
think
I
that-
lean
Can
to
we
the
donate?
fact that
Can we donate? Can other people donate their money if they wanted to? I don't know.
I lean to the
Could
fact
we
that these
help
are all
run-
township services. I mean, especially fire department, park and pool. These are all things offered to our community. We're helping keep them afloat. Library even being the same. Now, maybe people don't know as much that they have access to our public library, but it's things we're doing that it's community services that we're helping keep afloat with the money we give.
could we get involved or, put together some sort of donation program and really put that out to our residents and try to, get people to donate if they want to, rather than in a way we're making them. I don't know, just another idea. Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't think it's our money to give away. That's all. I guess that's
The
my.
firemen stand out, let's just say at the light with their boots. Could we do something like that? I don't know.
A boot drive would not
Let's
be
walk
feasible.
66 right here. And we'll take our shoes off. I mean, I don't know. They're raising money really.
I get what everybody's saying, because the fire department, Charlie on this hand, they do their own fund drive. They send out their yearly fundraiser. So township people are already paying for that.
So while we're talking about that, I'm gonna ask the next question in regard to the major amount of money that we spend with the fire department, which I assume is 481.5 and 486,352, which is on page 5. Are those both?
481.5 is money in, money out. That's the relief money we get. For fire taxes, the income, it's money out.
Wait, slow down. I don't
It's
understand what you're saying.
481,500. We
Yes.
collect the money in a revenue. If you go back to the revenues, it's called foreign fire tax. We don't have an option in that. That supports
Yeah,
the fire department's relief association.
What not? Where
I'm
is it?
looking for it
I
now.
see it right here. No, I don't. I'm lying to you.
It is 355,070 on page 2. Foreign fire insurance premium tax. It's 12,000 in, and then it's 12,000 out to the relief association. That is a tax that insurance companies that are based outside of Pennsylvania but sell insurance in Pennsylvania have to pay to the state. That money is then allocated to all the fire department relief associations across the state.
Perfect.
What number again?
So he's saying that
We're talking about the money in, Chris.
Yeah, you said on page.
355.
Page 2, 355,070, second column down.
that's just.
So it's like the DUI, it's in, it's out.
It's in,
That's
it's
fine.
out. It comes from the state. It just has to go through us.
Next,
So then the next line item, that's where we pay for their insurance.
We pay their auto insurance.
We do. Why?
All I can say is that's just how what's always been done. I mean, I can't justify.
Yeah, that's not a great answer.
Right, and I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that is
Um,
something that has always been done.
Correct. I go back to I don't know the fire department's budget. I don't think they're poor, but I don't know their budget. I don't know if they're staying afloat or if they have money in their coffer. But again, I just don't know why we're paying for it. And is that the only other expense so between this $7,500 or the $7,000 here and the 3 over there, we're giving about $10,000 to the fire department annually.
We pay their
Are we-
workers' comp insurance, but that's
That's
mandatory.
mandated by law.
Okay, and
You
then
have to pay the
fuel,
workers' comp.
where's that? That's just mixed in with our fuel?
Yeah.
Do we have any idea how much fuel we pay for if we were ballparking it? Have you ever seen, have we ever metered it and kept an
I mean, we
eye
do
on it?
meter it. They
You
have,
meter it now with his cars, but before, now you're able to.
Last year, I think at this time, for last year, it was around $1,600 or $1,700
Of total fuel for the year?
for that.
Okay, so.
I didn't look at any of that for this year, because it just didn't seem like I was supposed to.
Oh.
So, it was just something.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
if
just a
you-
good number, so then that takes us to like $12,000 roughly that we're shelling out for
emergency services.
the fire department. Do you understand the finances of the fire department, Charlie?
Not intricately. Last year, they supplied us with expenses during budget
Okay.
season, and that's something I can ask them to do again, but
You would say, generally speaking, are they in good financial standing or poor financial standing?
They're not broke.
Okay. They do a lot to raise money, so I know they work hard. I'm not discrediting that either. I just, again, where does $12,000 help the infrastructure and the operation of the township itself? Roads, improvements, equipment, additional employees, whatever it is, improvements to the building. I don't know.
I 100% agree with what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as memberships now, we have 20 active people, and I'm not wrong.
that's a active, true active. I mean, not
If they go
12 to
defunct,
15.
what do you see what you pay here for a paid fire department? But I agree with what you're saying. But on the other hand, if you have to go to a paid fire department,
Or even if you have to contract with the neighboring fire department, typically there's money involved with that too.
but again, they're not broke. I give you that.
Well, my opinion is that I would not want to spend that money, but I again am one of 5, so. And I think that if the situation were to arise that they were broke or they couldn't make ends meet, they couldn't afford gas or insurance, then yeah, I mean, I see that we would have to do that, but I just feel like we're throwing money at something that's really healthy financially. But again, we're not finalizing anything tonight. These were just we were asked to look over the budget and see where we could be. So keep moving on. Insurance fees, 486, 357. I just don't understand what does that mean.
That's the broker's fee for giving us our insurance.
So you just break it down from the total premium. You break down what the fee,
So
the
these-
broker's fee is amongst
Mhm.
that. Okay,
So that's what their cut
It
is.
shows up on their
on their
bill.
premium bill.
Mhm.
So you just break it down based on how it shows up on the bill.
Mhm.
Okay.
And something like, when was the last time, so the next line down, our auto insurance, how often do we shop that around?
We shopped that in 2021. We shopped it. We signed on in 2022
I was gonna say
with
2
our new
years
company.
ago.
So 2 years ago
Okay.
with McGowan. Speaking from my knowledge outside of here, I'm shopping insurance right now in Ford City. So far, McGowan has come in the cheapest. of
So I
everyone
mean,
that
it's
I've
not
talked
like
to.
a big thing for us to like shop our insurance, because we don't, I mean, especially automobile insurance, I mean, it's pretty relatively easy, like we could reach out to like local, where's McGowan out of?
They're out of Ohio, but they're governmental specialists. They do government insurance only.
So have we ever contracted like with a Jarek or a Guthrie
We
or
were
Dave
with one out of
Bango?
Butler prior
Steve
to, and when we switched to McGowan in 2022, it was $20,000 savings. It was extensive when we switched from Howard Agency in Butler. That's who we were with prior for years.
I think that was something that you had brought up.
anytime, I mean, I just know
Yeah.
Years ago.
in my own, like, just shopping insurance every couple of years, is you get the introductory rate, then you get the creep, and after you get the creep, you gotta find somebody that's gonna give you the introductory rate again. So just, I don't think we're far enough into it to justify spending the time to look for it right
Maybe
now.
next year.
But I think
next year
every
would be a
couple of
good time.
years, we should be continuing.
And I mean, that's something you want to start
In the
a
summer.
couple months, in the summer, because we renew in September every year. So
That's what you should do, because
They just get comfortable and they just keep jacking you up.
yeah, and it never hurts to
Paying
do.
it. Those were my only real questions in regard to things that as I looked through here that stood out as, areas of just concern or possible savings for us. I think that was it.
And Sharon, what are our bank balances as of today? Did you write that down?
No.
Because that'll tell us then what our actual surplus is of this budget. Would it be too much to ask you to make that change for the 50 to 25 while you're in there? I mean, if it's too much, it's fine. We
No,
can
I
just
can
do it.
that. Let's, give me here.
Ted, just on a
I
side
think
note
I need the
too,
ones turned over.
in your union contract with your medical insurance, since you guys are both like obviously husband and wife, do we give you guys a buyout for medical insurance? Are you guys obligated to only use like one plan? Or are you allowed to stay separate? I just don't know what the contract says.
I don't think there's anything
The
specific.
contract has a buyout for any employee that doesn't take.
Yeah.
So we
It's
don't.
small, but
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't require, it's not required to, if you're married, to be on one plan in there.
It's not required. However, that's obviously with those two how it's been working. Sharon's on Ted's plan. She doesn't take her own plan.
Gotcha.
She's part of Ted's.
So essentially.
It's not uncommon
So
for.
do you think, I guess what I was asking then is, do you think that what are we at, $27,000, so essentially it's two families that we have on there. How does that compare to what you see in Fort? I know what I pay for my own insurance for my family, monthly.
Trying to think. I just did the budget earlier.
well, we did change a couple years ago.
We did, and we saved like $30,000
with
that change.
No, I was just
Um,
curious.
That was a pretty significant.
so-
That cost is always going to go up.
Yeah,
It's
the borough-
disgusting how high it goes every year.
The borough's in the same trust. I cover a lot of father-child plans. I don't have many couple plans, but 27,000 for two is comparable, if not less than.
Well, he probably has the whole family though. On it.
Yeah, he has
That's
the
what I
whole
mean. He's got, like,
family.
the family plan. It's
He's
not
got a
just
family
two.
more. He's got a family plan.
Sure,
So
exactly.
yeah,
No,
I mean, I
it's
would
just-
say
I'm
for
just-
two family plans,
I guess I'm just
27,000
disgusted
is.
at the medical insurance business then.
Yeah, I would agree.
27,000.
and I'll say,
per family.
Ford City is also part of the same trust that Gilpin is in. Leechburg's part of that trust. Most of our surrounding municipalities are in that trust.
Is it basically like a consortium?
It's it doesn't have to be. We were previously through the Teamsters, but we saved 30,000 when we switched into this trust
Nice.
a couple years ago. Because it's a trust, they're able to offer larger group rates than just the township seeking out its own. Same as what we were doing with Teamsters, really, but it's just MEIT or MBS. I don't even remember what they go by now. Offers a very, very
When we did
competitive rate.
that, you have a couple co-pays went up a little bit on our end of it, when we did that. But, so.
I actually do have more questions in line. And these aren't bad questions. These are like good questions. They are.
none of them were bad.
Well,
yeah, I'm gonna say you haven't asked anything.
Good questions in the sense of like, we're not spending money that we have budgeted. So like I'm on page 1 of the state fund.
Okay.
And again, sometimes I get really, I'll be full transparency, I get really confused with like this money that it has to be spent like in this direction. So if that's just why, tell me, but like I see like, so let's just look at the first line down under public roads, like major equipment purchases. Like we in 23, we spent 15. I mean, I don't know how much more we'll have to spend throughout this year, and if that includes like payments, is that where?
That's our payments, and that's on the backhoe and our new dump truck.
Okay, so
that's why it went up. We were previously just
No,
the backhoe.
I
know.
I'm saying I want
explaining.
to if we have this, but if this money's coming in and we have to spend it, like
So
can we spend
can I just hold
more
on?
there?
I have to carry money over.
Okay.
So if there's money not spent, I have to have a carryover, and to keep our.
Yeah. So right now we do a deficit. We budget a deficit basically. So
Yeah.
right now next year's budget is actually 67,000 in the red.
Okay.
So
That is
I-
carried over by our beginning fund equity, which is what we have in the bank at the beginning of the new year. Sorry, Ted.
No, it's okay.
I mean,
It's okay.
No.
It's all good.
go for it. Go
I
for
was
it.
just
Sorry.
gonna say that, like, so some of these budgets that it appears that not a lot of that spent, it's basically we're trying to pave and seal coat as much as possible. That's where the most of the budget's going. So these other line items, I do need to do signs and things like that, and tires and that. But we also have to maintain a carryover. So basically, some of this money can't be spent because if I don't maintain. So what'll happen when we do? Sharon will pretty much tell me because we budgeted what we budgeted. We try to maintain what we can pave and what we can seal coat. And then she'll basically say, like, look, you need to cut something like $1,000 because obviously that too, we're getting less next year than we did this year. So, and then I'll just pick something here, generally like tires or whatever, to change it, to keep the paving budget number the same for next year. And then that way we have that.
So basically, we try to spend all 438 and all 439, 438, 246, 439. Those are the ones that
Yes.
we're and then these other ones we budget high, don't spend it to cover.
Yeah, and then we actually added the repairs to the equipment. We didn't used to have a line item from the state fund. It was all coming out of our general fund.
We did that the year that the tractor was costing
Yeah, when
us.
we were having trouble with
When we
the
spent like
tractor.
$50,000 in 1 year on that tractor, is when we started
So
doing
we
that.
had no repairs this year, no repairs to equipment this year.
Well, she's been taking it out of what we still have that in
We
the
have money in
general
general
fund.
fund too for it.
So she just hasn't moved over to this one.
This is where I get confused.
Yeah,
Like,
so
why is
You look on
it?
page 5 up the top, second item, repairs equipment.
yes,
It's
So-
it's like $6,600.
state fund money that we can get can only be spent on X, Y, and Z. It's limited to that, but that doesn't mean we can't also spend some general fund money on those same items. Which,
The general fund money is the Wild West. We can spend it wherever we want. It's our
yes, correct.
The state fund money is allocated to specific.
Specific
Well,
types.
she gets audited on everything, but the
Yeah.
state fund
Yeah,
is,
no, I
specific audits on, and they really go through it with.
So why do we, I'm sorry that I'm trying to understand this more. So why don't we use we can't use all of our state fund money because we can't not have money the next year?
We have to carry over, yeah, to maintain the numbers that we put in for paving and seal and patching and things like that. That's the only way I know how to
No,
explain it.
I need to sink my teeth into that more to understand.
So it's okay if there's money not spent in the state fund because it's, it has to be carried over to carry these. Well, I think Charlie said it best, you kind of run a deficit. You know what I mean? So.
Is there a certain amount that you have to keep?
Whatever our deficit
Sharon will
is.
tell me at the end, like before
Okay.
we finalize the budget, she'll tell me like, look, this is the number it has to be at. What do you want to do? And then I'll tell her what I think, and then
You delegate where
she
Yeah,
puts
so if
that
you go-
number, and then we can carry that over.
Kevin, if you go to right now on the second page of the state fund, unappropriated fund equity, $67,122.69 for next year budget. That is how much of a deficit we are in that fund. We are required by law to pass a balanced budget every year. That budget may be balanced by existing funds in the bank. He has to carry over at least $67,122.69 for us to have a balanced budget next year, based on our current expenses in that line or in that fund.
There's a new one.
Okay, thank you.
On the very last page.
Does this
I
have
put-
state fund too, or no, just general? Cool.
I don't know that I can.
No.
State fund.
No,
I have a
that's
state-
okay.
I have a sticky note for the balance. of the
No,
state
that's
fund.
fine. I just wanted
Okay.
to, because we didn't change anything in state fund. I just didn't want to confuse myself.
That part of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would. I think that was pretty good.
No, I understand.
I get it. I just was.
I'm all often confused about the whole, like, this money comes from here, so it has to be spent there, but this can transfer over. That's just, I'm not used to working with this kind of thing, Sue.
So based on our bank balance, if you go to the last page of the budget Sharon's handing out now, I'll wait till Kevin gets it. Based on our current bank balance, now we still have 4 more payrolls left this year, plus any other expenses that may arise, and we also have some income still to come in. We are $125,539.12 to the good. In the black, in our general fund budget based on our bank balance.
Fantastic, right?
That's better than being in the other side.
That's very much better than being on the other
I mean,
side.
that's better than
My guess is we're gonna carry over, by the time you account for payrolls, any other general expenses that pop up in incomes, between 150 and 175 of that 230 of our current balance. If I had to guess, that's just me going off of previous years of what's happened with the budget, how much we spent in this last 2 months. So I mean, even then, we're still 100,000, 80,000 to the good in our budget.
Give yourself a hand for all that.
What do you think
Good.
most
I do.
people, what do you
I
think
think
most
good.
municipalities carry as far as a percentage of like, carry over to total budget, you know? 'Cause what, I mean, I know it's on here somewhere, but what is our actual total overall budget? It's like almost $1 million or a little around there.
Total expenses are 965,324.63 for next year,
Okay,
as it stands.
so just to round it up, call it $1 million, right?
Yeah, just under $1 million,
So we're almost carrying 20, if your numbers are right, we're gonna carry 20%. I
approximately.
feel like that's pretty good. I mean, I can't complain about that. I won't complain about that. What else was I gonna ask you?
Yeah, I think it's good to build up some capital reserve.
I was about to say, one thing I forgot to ask, or forgot to look at, we have right now budgeted 25,000 to capital reserve. We did do our 25,000 this year. You've seen more because we transferred from the equipment that we sold into capital reserve as well. So
Absolutely.
it's bookmarked in capital reserve for the road department.
I'm not gonna forget that.
So we budget 25. It's great to have such a good surplus budget, but I would propose, depending on where we're at, we look to try to put some more money in capital reserve moving forward. I mean, you can either bank it in your coffers of the general fund, or you can transfer it to a savings account where it's bringing in a high yield
I mean, I
on
know
interest
from my
for future
experience
purchases.
with like Hurricane Ida and things, and there was a couple other flood things we
But-
had that weren't named, but as far as a hurricane, I mean, it's good to have.
General fund balance goes up and down.
No, I agree with you.
You know, and then money goes quick, you think, oh, yeah,
Same.
100,000,
Doesn't go anywhere anymore.
but you know that too.
Goes fast.
Okay, so unless anyone has any other questions, we'll take to Tuesday to review the preliminary budget. Tuesday at our regular monthly meeting, we will vote to advertise the preliminary budget for most likely a vote at our year-end meeting on, I don't remember what day we set that
26th
for.
or 27th, I think.
Yeah, late in December, in between Christmas and New Year's. Okay. Well, if no one has anything else under the budget workshop, do we have any other old business? Not, we'll move on to visitors. We have none here.
I don't have any old business, but I do have a question. This is me as a resident, not as a supervisor. I gotta get these logs out of the bottom of Janetta. I know that I couldn't make the zoning meeting. We have a bond on the road. If the zoning board would have approved it, I'm assuming I'm using the right word. If the zoning board would have approved it that evening, and then it would have came to us, and we would have said yes, why do we have that 2-layer protection? I guess what I'm asking, is there any possibility that you guys could decide without me being involved that we would be okay to haul logs up out of there as per, and I sent the DEP's
Yeah, I saw
map
the
to
map.
you guys.
So legally, no. Under
Okay.
the zoning ordinance, it has to go through the planning commission. I believe it's the
Yeah.
application. I knew they left it laying here. They tabled it due to lack of information from the application. They didn't have a description of work or anything there, so they tabled it to their next meeting to make their recommendation. That's the first Tuesday, Sharon?
Yes.
First Tuesday of December. They will recommend it to our board for our, I would say, our regular December meeting. At that time, we would schedule our conditional use hearing, hold our hearing, hold our vote, good to go. I would say January. It would have been this month if they didn't happen to have tabled it.
I appreciate them working so hard there. Okay. So the only problem is me driving the logs out of there. That's the issue.
I would say the definition of commercial logging is you hiring anyone to come in and cut these logs or do anything. I would think.
So when they get paid matters. If they get paid matters.
I would turn to legal counsel for that. I can't give an exact definition, yes or no.
Okay.
this is a real headache. When did, in logging has become a conditional use since
November.
last time they logged 800 acres. All right. It's just a slow process, and I have a sign permit, but I don't know who to give that to, so I don't want to get in trouble for
Yeah,
building
that'll
a sign
wait,
and getting in trouble. And
That'll wait
all
until
that.
Tuesday when we appoint the zoning officer. You would give it to them and they will handle making sure it's in compliance with the zoning and issuing the permit.
I love this zoning. Really lets us do what we want with our property. Anyways, beyond that, all was great.
Any calendar reminders or additions? Any need for an executive session? If not, do I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to adjourn carries.
Boys.
See ya.
Dude. Seeing these guys working in town there.
Your fence.
Yeah,